Your Granite School District Board of Education is currently exploring long-term planning options for our school buildings. Why? Did you know that of the 91 schools in Granite School District, nearly half are more than 50 years old? It's a great privilege to see our schools grow with communities, and many families have sent multiple generations of students to the same classrooms. But there's also a challenge. As school buildings age, they need more and more maintenance, renovations, and general upkeep before eventually needing to be replaced. Most older facilities are not compatible with new and emerging education technologies, and even some of our newer schools are in need of security upgrades. This brings us to where we are now. The district receives detailed facility reports from independent engineers who assess our schools and buildings. These reports provide very detailed information about every facility, from pipes and lighting to bricks and roofs. Each facility is then given a rating based on this assessment. Here's what we know from these building assessments. This chart represents all school facility reports in Granite School District. This category represents school buildings that require renovations or upgrades to 75 to 85% of the building's total square footage and systems. As time goes on, more schools move into this category, where more than 85% of the entire building is in decline. Currently, 20% of all Granite schools are within this final category. As you can see, a large amount of our school buildings have significant capital needs. Some need renovations to better serve growing student populations, and others are coming close to reaching their maximum life cycle. In addition, most of our schools are in need of seismic upgrades to be better prepared in the event of a large earthquake. In short, there are capital needs in Granite School District that need to be addressed. So how do we currently fund school renovations, upgrades, and rebuilds? These ongoing capital needs are addressed through capital funding at the district level. This is Granite's annual budget. This majority portion is devoted to instructional, student, and staff services. The other portions of the budget are used to support students and staff. About 10% goes to utilities and custodial functions. This much is used for school lunch. A portion is used for student transportation. 1.9% goes to central support services like accounting, human resources, and information systems. 5.6% is for school administration. 2.5% goes to debt service from the 2009 voter-approved bond. This bit is used for non-instructional community services, and less than 1% goes to all district administration. What's left, about 5% of the budget, is devoted to capital projects. By law, the district cannot pull funding from another portion of the budget to fund capital projects. Capital projects can only be funded with property taxes, regardless of funding at the state level. Financially speaking, Granite has maintained a strong structure that benefits students while staying within our means. The last issuance of general bonds received AAA ratings, and the district has repeatedly been recognized by the Association of School Business Officials for financial accountability and transparency. We also have among the lowest administrative costs in the whole country, and our tax rate is well below the state average. While these are all great indicators of a healthy budget, there remains a problem. Our current capital funding format is not adequate. Let's take a closer look. With the current funding rate, the district is able to save about $2 million in discretionary funds that can be put toward rebuilding schools. At that pace, Granite can rebuild one elementary school about every 8 years. Under that model, we would have several schools approaching 100 years old before receiving necessary upgrades. With this in mind, let's talk about the future of our schools. Based on expertise from outside engineers, the most we can expect from our schools is a 60 to 70 year lifespan. On that track, we would need to rebuild one elementary every year, one junior high every 4 years, and one high school every 8 years. All told, this would require $36.6 million annually in capital funds. Let's look back at the capital portion of our budget. Our current capital budget is $17 million. $15 million of that is used for school renovations and maintenance. The other $2 million are those discretionary funds we mentioned earlier that can be put toward major rebuilds. So, how do we bridge this gap in funding? First, let's talk about our board's goals and guiding principles with regard to long-term capital planning. Number 1, we intend to improve existing facility conditions, or in other terms, leave the district better than we found it. 2, we need to build for 21st century education to make sure our facilities can keep up with learning technology and individualized education strategies. And 3, all our plans need to be fiscally responsible. The Board of Education has spent several months exploring multiple long-term capital planning options. In addition to the $36.6 million required for major rebuilds, which is applied to all capital planning options, the board has narrowed down 3 options for ongoing school renovations, repairs, and remodels. All options were developed in conjunction with outside financial and engineering experts. The first option for development involves remodeling cosmetic items, such as paint, carpet, lighting, and furniture, once in a building's life cycle, with the cost of the remodel being about 10% of a similar building's construction cost. Annual cost district-wide for option 1 would be $3,562,500. Annual savings on maintenance costs would be $659,291. Option 1 does not address life cycle maintenance or major system replacements. The second option would also include 1 remodel, but would include partial updates to major systems like heating, air conditioning, and roofing. Remodels would be about 25% of a similar building's construction costs. Total costs for option 2 would be $10,603,125. Annual maintenance savings would be $3,212,354. School conditions under option 2 improve, and renovations keep pace with learning needs. The third option for development would involve 2 remodels in a building's life cycle, and would include cosmetic updates, as well as 1 complete update to heating, roofing, doors, playgrounds, athletic fields, and other major systems. Total cost to the district would be $24,588,750, with annual maintenance savings of $8,586,879. Option 3 meets industry standards for school buildings, and school conditions improve significantly on each remodel. Currently, the board leans toward option 2 for long-term capital planning. Now that we have an idea of current proposals, let's talk about the funding required to make the plans a reality. With the assistance of outside financial consultants, the board has explored several funding solutions to bridge the gap in capital funding. Of all the potential scenarios, the board has narrowed down 3 funding options: a single tax increase, a series of bonds passed by voters every 4 to 5 years, or a hybrid of both models, an initial 10-year bond followed by a pay-as-you-go model that maintains tax revenue as the bond is paid off. Based on in-depth analysis, the board favors the third option because it alleviates some of the initial impact to taxpayers and avoids potential bond rate hikes. Let's look at how that works. These numbers are based on the annual costs of funding major rebuilds and option 2 of long-term capital planning. With the single tax increase model, a home valued at $250,000 would have an increase of $259.88 per year. The bond series option would take place over an approximate 20 to 30-year period, with capital projects taking place within chunks as bonds with tax increases are passed by voters every 4 to 5 years. This plan relies on bond rates being low and voters approving each bond. If a bond fails to get necessary votes, major capital building projects, as well as subsequent projects, would be put on hold. The hybrid model would have voters consider an initial bond with a tax increase of approximately $183.43 on a $250,000 home. If approved by voters, bonds would be sold, and as the amount was paid off over a 10-year period, the district would maintain tax revenue. Based on expert consultations, the board favors this plan because it has the most successful cash flow to keep capital projects on pace and has the least amount of impact to taxpayers. As we continue the conversation about long-term capital planning, please remember that no final decision has been made. You, as community members, parents, and taxpayers, are our partners in education. We want your input and ideas as we work to secure the best outcomes for students. All our kids deserve facilities that are safe, welcoming, and meet the educational needs of the children they serve. Please visit gsdfuture.org for more information. You can also send questions or comments to gsdfuture@graniteschools.org.